So today we're looking at Street Fighter 2, or the Street Fighter miniatures game box set. We'll just go through some items. We'll also have a quick look through the stretch goals kit as well. All of this is on Jasco Games, and go on their website and have a look, find some stockists and see when the release dates are for your areas and zones. So let's get on with that. So first up, the box. So the box itself is 12.5 inches by 12.5 inches and 4 inches deep. So that leads itself to being quite a chunky piece. And once I crack it open, we can have a very quick look on the inside. So we have the rules. We've got a number of cardboard tokens and terrain pieces that get made and that fit. We've got the cherry blossoms, and we have the military styles for Guile, one of my personal favorites. Then we have the board that folds out. So it folds out to approximately 2 foot by 2 foot, and each of these squares is 2 inches and 7/8 of an inch by 2 inches and 7/8 of an inch. So they lend themselves to being quite chunky squares, and in a 2 foot by 2 foot area you'll end up with everyone being relatively close quite quick. All the beautiful miniatures in the starter set: Vega, Chun-Li, Rue, Ken, Zigreef, Sagat. So all good. Now this is what we've got. Everyone comes with their card and their own deck. I'll have a look at one of these decks in a moment. They may share cards, but for the most part everyone has their own special little cards. So on. So the miniatures look spectacular. There's a couple of, okay, it's a miniature, but from a distance, which is what we're looking at, up close you'll find a handful of little things, but realistically when we're talking about on a tabletop, it's awesome. But the only one that I think has a bit of an issue in my mind is Blanco, but that's just because I think they used the wrong green. Again, materials, colours, all of that. But anyway. So we'll go through one of these decks, crack it open and have a look at the anatomy of a card. Before we get into cracking open cards, there are these quick action tips and how things work. So there's one for every character, because you can play it up to 6 players. So there's 6 of those. And you get these. These are all fully created, they're all fully formed. You don't have to put anything together. You don't have to paint anything. There's no attachments whatsoever. So on the Eldar Guy scale of modelling, this is a 1, straight out of the box. Put it on the table and start playing. You could even use these as almost collectible miniature pieces. And I noticed on some of the cards, they have what variation of printing it's on. They recognise the artists, and it's worth mentioning that the artwork is spectacular. So what I'll also do while I'm thinking about the artwork, hats off to all these people. Because the art, the models, the miniatures, the design are amazing. So kudos to everybody involved. So let's have a look at one of these cards. So the cards are 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. And we have move in terms of squares, the primary attack, the ultra attack, which happens with you've got your full 8 meter, may spend the 8 meters to do this. The name of the character, printing, and the art. Her vital stats. Liking crepes, fruits and candy. And these are her cards. Type of attack. For it to link, you need to match up. So if it's left, you got to match up with the other side. Artwork is spectacular. And we'll run through playing games down the line. Spinning bird kick. It's the number of attacks. 2 square charge, and so on. It's awesome. And this is her deck, and they're all about Chun-Li. Yatta! All right. The cards. Alright, so we'll go through this in a moment. Of course, everyone's got more models, more cardboard, and more cards underneath, and everyone gets their bits. It's all good. Everyone's all in here. So with this you can make everybody from the original Street Fighter 2, and then a little bit from some of the supplements that came in afterwards. This was something that was a little confusing, but it will help if I expand. Hang on. So there's a classic stage where you destroy a car and you move your character on this piece of the square and you do damage till it gets to this point. I'll load it up and I'll show you what has happened in this version. Hopefully they've fixed it with everything subsequently. So each one of these is a tile, and you do 3 damage to each tile, and it becomes the damaged side. Then you do another 3 damage on the other side, and it comes removed, till eventually you end up with just the lifeless husk of the car. And you get points for how quickly you do it. You've got 25 rounds to do all the damage. So what's happened is that if you do an immediate flip over, when they printed these, they actually printed them in reverse. They didn't mirror the image at all. So these middle ones should be okay. but everything else has to go on the other side. Which is where this comes in. Bunch of stickers. So you re-stick it. So that one goes there, flip it over, then you actually have to stick this panel on that. So that way when it gets damaged, flip it over and it's the right one, rather than it moving over there. Because when they printed them out, they just printed it out like this. Image, image, which meant that when you're duplexing, in effect, so it'll go through one side, then they flip it over. It didn't get the right thing. They should have mirror imaged the second print run, the second side. So you run it all through one side, flip it over, and run it all again. They should have mirror imaged that second print. They didn't. Hopefully they'll fix it up on the next one. Otherwise, there's a lot of stickers that are going to go out. So anyway, so that. And this is what I was talking about. No, he's not coming out. With Blanco. Could have just been a bit darker. But I understand. You want it nice and bright, and since most miniature games are played from that distance, it's fine. It's just only close up. It has that, oh, it could be a little bit sharper, a little bit more forest green. Anyway, so this is everything in here. Over the next few days we'll get something happening, lay it all out and get a couple of demo games going. This is a good session for doing just as a practice on the moves and combinations and getting it done. So you just build the car and then you smash it. So all we're doing is just rolling dice and getting used to the combo moves. It's good practice. So that's a solo element. There's no real solo element as such. There's a few options and alternatives out there as to how it works. If you want to try a few things on your own. But for the most part, anyone up to 6 players, which is awesome. Free for all, Royal Rumble, and we can keep it all together. Alright, well thank you very much for this very quick unboxing, and comments down below, like, subscribe, all the usual bits and pieces, and then we can work it from here. So you have a big boss. So this is when you've got like the single big boss that's going to take on like lots of damage and lots of people. They have more health. Something that's worth mentioning is, again, last thing, sorry. There's no zeros. So you have to do the hero clicks thing where you just start it in between, just before 1. Maybe they'll fix that in the next printing. So you just sort of, the health's different, but for the meter it starts at 0, so just place it in between. Cool. Alright. Detail is fine. Blanco. Thanks for coming. Alright guys. Have fun, play safe, be safe, love your work. Alright, so like, subscribe, get involved, and enjoy.